Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, Praying to the Lord, have mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. Speak through the mouth of my lips when I'm. Show me where you wanna go next, you know. Right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth is, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Taking 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophets back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know, oh yeah, yeah, just tell them you know, oh Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, Praying to the Lord, have mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. The mouth from my lips when I'm. Show me where you wanna go next, you know. Right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth is, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Taking 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophets back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know. Tell them you know, oh yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, to the Lord, have mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. Speak through the mouth from my lips when I'm. Show me where you wanna go next, you know. Right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth at, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Deacon 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophet's back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know. Tell them you know, oh yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, and you know it. Praying to the Lord, have mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. Speak through the mouth from my lips when I'm. Show me where you wanna go next, you know. Right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth at, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Deacon 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophet's back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know, oh yeah, yeah, just tell them you know, oh rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, and you know it. Praying to the Lord, have mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. Speak through the mouth from my lips when I'm. Show me where you wanna go next, you know. Right. the truth at. Looking all around, but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Deacon 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophet's back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know. Oh yeah, just tell them you know. Oh yeah, rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it. Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, Praying to the Lord, have mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. Speak through the mouth of my lips when I'm. Show me where you wanna go next, you know. Right away. Lost and you don't know where the truth at. Looking all around, but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Deacon 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophet's back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know, oh yeah, just tell them you know, oh rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, Praying to the Lord, have mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. Speak through the mouth of my lips when I'm. Show me where you wanna go next, you know. Right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth at, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Deacon 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophet's back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know, oh yeah, yeah, just tell them you know, oh. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, and you know it. Praying to the Lord, have mercy, mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah, while I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. The mouth from my lips when I'm show me where you wanna go next, you know right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth is, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Kicking 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophets back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know. Oh yeah, yeah, just tell them you know. Oh yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it. Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, and you know it. Praying to the Lord, have mercy, mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah, while I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah, speak through the mouth from my lips when I'm show me where you wanna go next, you know right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth is, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Kicking 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophets back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you
Hey, shalom. Welcome back. We are back. It has been a long time coming. Okay, the clapping just went off.
That was real quick.
All right. Anyway, we're back. You can hear us? Hey, shalom, y'all. Shalom. Welcome back to our. You're now tuned into our Hidden History.
Hidden History radio show.
Yeah, we're back. We're
Right,
back.
baby.
We got back.
We're back.
For a while. We had some technical difficulties with the computer and all that. So
Man-made technology.
yeah, so we're back. We are what chapter is this, man? What chapter is that? What chapter is this?
Chapter 32.
32. We are dealing with the Inquisition in the Americas. The Inquisition in the Americas. That's what we're dealing with right now. That's what we're dealing with. So let's just get into it, man. Without further ado, we're going to go back into this book called Christopher Columbus and the Participation of the Jews. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Participation of the Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese discoveries by Meyer Kaiserling. This book right here. I'll let you guys see it. It's pretty good stuff in here. So we're going to start at page 82. We left off in Maccabees. First Maccabees 141 regarding how they basically converted us into the Greek fashion. Likewise, the same thing was done to us in Spain and Portugal. The same exact people doing the exact same thing. We're going to show you that whole thing, the whole Inquisition that took place against us in Spain and Portugal and in Africa, where the Portuguese colonized it and did the same thing to us. They sent inquisitors after us. We're going to read that same thing in detail in this book here. So we're going to go to page 82, and we're going to read, start after it says the Jews, and we're going to end at page 83 to be Jews. So page 82, the Jews, and then page 83, we end at to be Jews. Let's go.
The Jews were generously allowed to take their property with them by land and water, accepting gold, silver, coin, money, and merchandise subject to the laws prohibiting exportation.
So this is the time we touched this before regarding during the expulsion and things that we were allowed to leave with, and things we were not allowed to leave with. And even when we got away with silver and gold, we got robbed by pirates or Hamites or pretty much the Spanish, the Portuguese. We were going through hell, just trying to leave with some of our things. Go ahead. And by law, go ahead.
They could thus take with them only such articles as could be freely exported.
Yeah, like a chair or a freaking sock. Damn demons. Go ahead.
What the hell is this?
The king and queen acted in full accord, but Ferdinand played the chief role in the barbarous expulsion of the Jews.
In other books I've read, it says that he had Israelite in his family, his mother's side, and that his wife was primarily the one in his ear forcing it. But some books say vary but they were both devils regardless. Some say that his wife was pretty much instrumental in affecting his mind toward the Jews. Other books say he was just as much evil as she was. So regardless, it was two evil ass king and queen, pretty much kicking us out of Spain and Portugal. Go ahead. Out of Spain. Go ahead.
Hence, the edict was not.
Next page. We're going to stop at 2B Jews on page 83. The edict was not. Go ahead.
Hence, the edict was not signed by the Castilian Secretary of State, Gaspar Gracio, but by the Secretary of State of Aragon, Juan de Coloma, an old confidant of the king. Recent Spanish historians readily admit that Ferdinand was led to adopt this measure more by economic and political reasons, more by the desire to promote his own material interests than by the religious zeal which actuated Isabella.
Right, so Isabella, they're saying that he was more about doing this based upon economic ideals, his wife based upon religious ideals. Go ahead, which all worked hand in hand. Go ahead.
The king needed plenty of money to carry out his plan of bringing new territory under his dominion. He took it from the Jews, who were wealthy, especially in Castile. Some of them were worth as much as 1 or 2 million maravedis or more.
So one of us. So it says some Jews. Some of us were worth 1 or 2 million damn near dollars or more. We were wealthy people in that land. Go ahead.
The Inquisition, which he had called into existence, and the expulsion of the Jews, which he had decreed, had one and the same object. The former aimed to secure the property of the secret Jews,
crypto Jews,
for the state treasury.
To confiscate our wealth. Go ahead.
The latter, under the cloak of religion.
Under the cloak of religion, under the belief for the sake of Christianity, of preserving it. Go ahead.
Aimed to confiscate the property of those who openly profess to be Jews.
Aimed to confiscate the property of those who openly professed to be Jews. So under Spain and Portugal, like it was with us under the Greek power, it was a sin, it was illegal to profess yourself at all to be a Jew. Give me 2 Maccabees 6, please. You can't make this up, man. You cannot make this up. It's history repeating itself. History repeating itself. As I showed y'all chapters ago, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella were Hispano-Romans, meaning Romans that resided in Spain. These are descendants of the Greco-Roman people. The Portuguese are all the same people. 2 Maccabees 6, verse 6 to 9.
2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Read again.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. Aimed to confiscate the property of those who openly professed to be Jews. It's the same freaking agenda. It's the same thing. The Greeks enacted the same evil laws to make certain that the Jews would forget their identity. The church was aimed to annihilate our people as a race, as it is today. Go ahead, read on.
Verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth,
His birthday, go ahead.
Every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept.
So the feast of Bacchus is a feast of what they call in the islands bacchanal. Okay, carnival. They worship bacchanal, Bacchus, the god of sex and wine, orgies and wine.
What the hell is this?
Go ahead.
The Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy.
The Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. There's a book that I have. I didn't bring it. I didn't bring it. Where it says that the French, in New Orleans, the French introduced this holiday in New Orleans based upon their ancestors, the French. And they had the Negroes, though, they were they had like ivy, like statues, things like that nature. But the French took this custom from their ancestors, the Greeks. Mm-hmm. The French are descendants of Greeks and Romans. That's what I'm trying to explain to y'all.
And also, the Catholic Church have what is called Palm Sunday when they walk in procession with palms also.
Right.
The same kind of custom.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen.
The word decree goes back to the word edict. Edict, same thing. Papal bull, same thing. Go ahead.
By the suggestion of Ptolemy, against the Jews.
Against who?
Against the Jews.
So this law was enacted for all heathens within Greek dominion to become Greeks, but it was aimed at the Jews. Go ahead.
To be that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices.
Observe the same fashions goes into what? Not just the customs, but the fashions as well. How to dress, same thing. Going right back to 2 Maccabees chapter 4 about the Greekish fashions, but creating heathenish manners. Same thing. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles.
Whoso would not be in conformity with the Eurocentric fashion or customs of this time, as it was in Spain and Portugal, same thing. As it now is in America, same thing. Go ahead.
Should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery.
This is not what happened in Spain and Portugal? They were put to death for professing themselves to be Jews? Yes. Because they're the same people doing the exact same thing to the same people that they despised as the Greeks and Romans. They despised us as the Spanish. They despised us as the Portuguese. They despised us as the French. They despised us as the British. They despised us as the Dutch. Swedish, Danish, whatever the hell, German. They despised us in all these different titles, but they were all the same people. Same
Edomites.
people. Edomites. Biblical name, Edomites. The nation of redness. Red people. Now, let's see. Read verse, let's see. So let's find out why. Matter of fact, let's read down to verse 14. Let's get some more on this. Watch this. Read on.
Verse 14.
No, read down to 14.
Yes, sir. For verse 10. For there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children.
So during this time, our women had integrity. They had more balls than a lot of the men today. That to know that regardless of what the white man told them to do, they were going to stand strong and firm for the laws of God. So these women, remember under the Greeks were against circumcision. And these women said no. Black women said no. We're going to circumcise our children anyway. We're going to do what God says. What's what happened to them? Read on.
For there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children, whom when they had openly led round about the city.
So they had these sisters walked around the city as a public display. Go ahead.
The babes hanging at their breasts.
The babes are nursing as they're walking through the public crowd. They're nursing their babies. Go ahead.
They cast them down headlong from the wall.
They threw them off a wall with their babies. These 2 women. They killed 2 women and 2 babies because they circumcised their children. You can't tell me this man isn't the devil. You cannot tell me he's not the devil. You can't. Read on.
And others that had run together into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly, being discovered to Philip, were all burnt together.
They did what?
And others that had run together into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly.
Crypto Jews. Mm-hmm. To keep the Sabbath day, keep the laws of God secretly. These are crypto Jews during the Greek captivity. Go ahead. We're what?
Being discovered to Philip.
Being caught. Go ahead.
Were all burnt together.
Burnt together. Ain't that what happened to us in Spain? They burned us, public burnings. They call it a witch hunt. Same thing. They burnt us alive for keeping the laws of God during the time of the Greeks. They burnt us alive for keeping the laws of God in Spain and Portugal. It's no difference. Read on.
Because they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day.
Because we made a conscious decision to keep God's laws despite what the white man told us to do. By law, by edicts, decree, by papal bull. Go ahead.
Now, I beseech those that read this book.
So now the author is saying, listen, you're reading this. I know it's depressing. I know it's sad. I know it's discouraging. But you read this book. Go ahead, watch this.
That they be not discouraged.
Don't let this history discourage you, because many black folks refuse to acknowledge slavery because they feel it's discouraging. It's not discouraging. It's facts. It happened. It happened. And it was written for our learning, as the Bible says. Go ahead.
For these calamities. But that they judge those punishments.
Read from the top again.
Yes, sir. Now I beseech those that read this book, that they be not discouraged for these calamities.
Don't be discouraged for these calamities. Don't be discouraged for these calamities. Go ahead.
But that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastening of our nation.
That's why Spain and Portugal were able to conquer us. Chastening of the nation. Because Israel was in idolatry, even as the Moors. We were heavily into Islam, heavily into Islam. Heavily into the wealth of being rich and wealthy in Spain. We were living a life. Had white women, Portuguese women, Spanish women. We were living good. Had white men. Women had, Jewish Israelite women that had white men, Portuguese men, Spanish men. All kind of evil was going on when we was in Spain and Portugal. We started off as warriors, but we were warriors under a pagan doctrine, under Islam. Well, you had some of us that was under Judaism. You had some of us that was both. Some of us like Judaism and Islam at the same time. The Lord said, yo, man, this is for your punishment, for your chastisement. Read on.
For it is a token of his great goodness, when wicked doers are not suffered any long time, but forthwith punish.
That's what God did. He punished us. After a while, the Lord said, okay, now it's time for me to punish them. They're getting too comfortable. It's time for prophecy to be fulfilled. Read on.
For not as with other nations, whom the Lord patiently forbeareth to punish, till they be come to the fullness of their sins, so dealeth he with us.
So God gives the nations a time limit.
Damn.
God gives these nations a time limit before he wreaks havoc on their ass, too, like he does with us. He said, yeah, these nations, he said, the Lord said, I forbear to punish them. I forbear to punish Spain. I forbear to punish Portugal, because all of them are going to come to, all of them are going to become, all of them are going to eventually become America. They're going to eventually, become powerful. I'm going to punish them in my own time, like I do my people. Read on.
Lest that being come to the height of sin, afterwards he should take vengeance of us. And therefore he never withdraweth his mercy from us. And though he punish with adversity, yet doth he never forsake his people.
God will never forsake his people. God will eventually put us back on top as we once were before. So we read about the history of us being in Spain and Portugal and us being shipped off and all that stuff. It is discouraging, but the writer, author, is saying, don't be discouraged, because this is all a message that God is saying, I will chastise you, but I will have mercy on you afterwards, because the chastisement is for our correction. So when you're reading these things, you're thinking to yourself, you guys are about doom and gloom and reading about slavery and where's the happy parts? Where's the joy? This is the joy, because everything the Bible says that was going to happen, that came to pass. This Bible, this history proves that there is a God. That's the author is saying. All these things are proof that there is a God. You cannot deny that there is a God, that there is not a God. There is a God. Science substantiates God. Science substantiates him. You got some white folks that try their hardest. There's this girl. She made a valid point. This girl. She's an actress from the show called Black Lightning. She's in mad shows, and she did a really. We can find that clip. It's on TikTok. I have it. I was I could probably send it to y'all. It was an excellent point she made about how God exists. Of course, it's a carnal way of explaining it. We know God exists based upon historical, prophetic events and occurrences revolving around our people. But she went deep in terms of the history of science and how the white man figured it out. The white man knows there's a God too, because there's books we have where he says that the same slaves we have in our possession are the ones that were in Egypt. Right. So he knows who he has as slaves.
Correct.
So if he knows that we're Israelites, he knows that there's a God of Israel too. He knows that. All nations know there's a God of Israel. They just want to make sure they all band together. They all got together to make certain that we don't remember that anymore. Mm-hmm. All right? I have it. My wife sent me the link way back. Shout out to the wife for sending me this.
You talking about the sister? She's coming around to know that she's.
I don't know about being Israel, but I know she knows that she's coming into the knowledge that there's a God.
Right.
I found it all.
You found it?
Yeah.
You just send it up.
So you're looking at also, Dick, like you were saying earlier, when the people were saying, where's the fun part? Mm-hmm. If we could get that Leviticus 26, before the fun part comes, this is what must be done. 26, 40 to 41.
You sent it to them, Abaddon?
Yes, I sent it to men also.
All right, that's it right there. Just that's not it. That's commentary on it. I'm gonna send it to you now. That's a commentary on it.
Hey, it skips right after 2 seconds. It'll play the whole video.
Oh, it plays it by itself without saying anything?
Yeah.
All right, because I have it. I'll post it here anyway. Just in case. Go ahead. What you gonna read?
Yeah.
What you want? Leviticus
26. Go start 41, 42.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 41.
40, start 40.
40. If they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass, which they trespassed against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me.
Right, so this is the things that we did. So we have to confess that. First, go ahead.
And that I also have walked contrary unto them.
So we have worked contrary to the laws of the Most High. Mm-hmm. We did agree that we was going to do everything he said, but we were contrary to that. Go ahead.
And have brought them into the land of their enemies.
So punishment right there. Go ahead.
If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled.
So this is the question. This is what we must do now. We have to humble our mind. Go ahead.
And they didn't accept the punishment of their iniquity.
That's it right there. You have to accept it, like we did wrong. Like 1 King 8 says, we walk contrary to the Most High, so we have to accept the punishment. So that's why we have to read it. Whatever was written, or 4 times was written for our learning. So now we're reading the why we're in the condition that we're in and accept that punishment. Go ahead.
Then will I remember my covenant with Jacob.
Then this is where the fun part comes in. Then the Most High is going to remember the covenant and going to put us back on top. Go ahead.
And also my covenant with Isaac. And also my covenant with Abraham will I remember. And I will remember the land.
Right. So these things must be done first. We have to first confess our iniquities, accept the punishment for our iniquities, for our sins. Then the Most High said, okay, since you accept it, now I'm going to remember the covenant I made with your forefathers. That's the fun part now. Yeah. The other nations are going to be under us. We're going to be ruling again.
Right.
And our people, there's a saying that says people are blind to perfection, so they seek for flaws. So they only see the flaws that they see is our punishment. Where is your God? Why are we going through this? Well, it is our God doing this. Our God is putting us through this because that was the punishment for our disobedience. So right there, that's evidence that our God exists. As is written, and this is what we're going through.
Right.
But they see it as something, that's far-fetched. We shouldn't be going through this because God loves us. No, we going through this because
God loves us.
He loves us. That's our punishment.
But see, they're saying that in a Christianity frame of mind.
Right.
Oh, that's God. Right. God. Why God would do something like that?
White man's eyes.
Right. You don't know the laws. You don't know the prophecies. So you wouldn't understand why you're going through this.
Right. Go to verse 17. We should have read that next. This goes in sync with what Quat just brought out. Going back to 2 Maccabees 6 and 17. We read verse 16 about God having mercy on his people. That was verse 16, but read verse 17. We're going to watch this video clip real fast.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 17. But let this, that we have spoken, before a warning unto you.
Unto us.
And now will we come to the declaring of the matter in few words.
Read 17 one more time.
But let this, that we have spoken, be for a warning unto us.
Be for a warning unto us, that when you do wrong, God will chastise you.
Right.
That's what we're reading. We're reading this Bible. We're reading this as a warning, as an admonishment. Go ahead.
And now will we come to the declaring of the matter in few words.
This history we're reading right here in Maccabees is abbreviated. It's way more than this. This is an abbreviation. Go to that video now. Some good stuff here, she says. We shouldn't be blocked for this. This is a TikTok video, for God's sake. We shouldn't be blocked from playing this. Who knows? Can you put it on full screen? Okay, that's good enough, I guess.
She's an actress, right?
Yeah, she's in Black Lightning. She's in a few. She's actually in a few.
She's a little girl.
Yeah, she's a little girl. I remember her from other shows. I just can't think of it right now.
Tyler Perry.
Yeah, she's in Matt Tyler Perry stuff.
Is it Meet the Browns? Not Meet the Browns.
I know you're talking about. I forget what it's called.
I don't remember.
They're like two sisters, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Two little ones. Two little girls.
You ready? Yeah. All right, come on. I can't hear anything. You gotta wind it.
Now this leads us to the law of causality.
Rewind it.
And I remember I saw her, she break down on
yeah, she started crying,
yeah. And she left, I think she left
quit.
Hollywood.
She quit Black Lightning. She quit the show.
Yeah. She figured something out, and she saw it was wrong.
We're not sure what she figured out, but she's keeping it to herself,
but
whatever it is.
Say it.
Yeah.
You know, if you talk, you know what happened. You already signed your...
Right. You'll never work in this town again.
No, you'll be dead. You'll be dead.
What's going on?
You ready?
Let's go. Come on.
Turn the volume.
Load up. Let's go.
Y'all ever heard of the theory of general relativity? It's what Einstein is famous for. In his calculations, he started to realize that the universe was not eternal. It had a beginning. Now this leads us to the law of causality.
Pause. So Einstein, for what she's saying, realized that the basically universe we're in had a beginning, meaning a creator. That's what she's saying. Because Einstein was the man behind E = mc². He's a man behind the nuclear energy, the nuclear technology we know of today. The Manhattan Project was later on enhanced by Oppenheimer and Einstein. I believe he was present as well at the time. And so basically he's the genius of time back then, as Elon Musk is the genius of today.
Right.
So he realized, if you can rewind it, please rewind it again. So they realized he was basically pretty much a genius. So let's go back. I don't want to cut too much into it. TikTok, you can't rewind that much. You got to just kind of let it play through.
Start it back, right.
So let's start it back.
Have y'all ever heard of the theory of general relativity? It's what Einstein is famous for. In his calculations, he started to realize that the universe was not eternal. It had a beginning. Now this leads us to the law of causality. Everything that came to be needs a cause. So Einstein clearly knew that if the universe had a beginning, it needed a cause. Let's go to the Big Bang Theory. There was no space, no time, and no matter before the Big Bang. The universe emerged out of nothingness. What does that mean? Since it's impossible for the universe to be able to create itself because it didn't exist in order to be able to create itself, nature and the universe itself was just a big effect that was caused by, what are we left with? An extremely powerful, extremely intelligent, precise, given the precision that our universe was created with, personal entity that is capable of existing outside of time, space, and matter.
Pause.
That can't be nothing but.
That is called the Ancient of Days. He's before time. He's before time. He's outside of. That's why I said God to the Lord. The day is 1,000 years. 1,000 years is to a day.
There was this professor. I'm gonna find his name.
I know you're talking about. Why am I sounding like I'm scratching? It sounds kind of crazy.
The volume is kind of loud.
Volume's kind of high. I'll turn that down some. Yeah.
He destroyed these professors.
I know you're talking about. You sent me the video.
Yeah.
The guy's name, but he's a pastor. He's a pastor.
And he quit it because he said the debate was versus
It was like three on creation. I gotta turn this down.
Yeah.
Creationism versus something. Forgot what it's called.
I'm gonna find it for you because it's very interesting. It's exactly what she's saying.
Yeah.
And he destroyed the college professors by telling them, this illusion you guys created of this Big Bang could not have happened.
Right.
I'm gonna find it now. I'll send it to you.
Go ahead. Play it.
And for people that are like, okay, well, how do you know that it's like Christianity's God? There's only one God. But there's a very famous astronomer named Robert Jastrow. His credentials as a scientist are impeccable. Being agnostic, he's not even a Christian.
Pause.
He said that all...
This is a scientist that does not believe in God. I gotta turn this mic down. This song is popping in my ear. This guy doesn't believe in God. This scientist does not believe in God. Go ahead.
Essential elements of the Big Bang Theory line up with biblical creation. Wow. Because this is how God works. God speaks something, and then science runs to catch up with what he said.
Pause.
Science.
Pause.
Hey.
God says something, and science catches up with what he said. I'll give y'all a prime example of that. We've been teaching for years in the streets that according to the Bible, you are what your father is. Esau recently came up with a I think it was last year or earlier this year, saying that they did some studies on some rats and came to determine, based upon the study of rats, that the father's genetic material is more in the child than the mother. So you are more your father than your mother, genetically. That's science. But the Bible already says the seed of your fathers. So the Bible says Esau played catch up. Esau plays behind. His science is trying to catch up with God,
right?
But it can't, because God is too advanced. God is before time. He's before science.
He created Esau.
He created him.
Right.
Let's read on. Continue. Let it play.
To answer a question that I always get: who created God? What I say? I said everything with a beginning. Everything that came to be needs a cause.
Right.
God didn't come to be. God is eternal, the way a lot of people thought the universe was until science disproved it. So God doesn't need a cause or a creator. He is the cause. The universe is the effect. Don't just take my word for it. Go look into it for yourself. One more thing. Evidence is not a substitute for faith. Following God is not a matter of evidence or proof. It's a matter of the will. You have to want to do it so you can have the peace that you're looking for. And if you don't want to make that choice, no amount of evidence is going to convince you to. You have to want to.
You gotta want to believe in God. That's what she's saying. Evidence does not support it. You have to want to acknowledge there's a God.
And that's what Moses says. I said before thee,
Life and death. Right. The choice is yours.
Choose your
The
life.
theory of general
That's it.
relativity.
So she dropped some heavy jewels in that clip. That was some good stuff she said. That was some great stuff she said. That's on a carnal level. Now when you read Romans 1, Paul said the same thing. The earth, the moon, the stars, that is evidence that there's a God. Solomon said the same thing. Wisdom of Solomon said the same thing. If you see the earth, moon, and stars and all that, and she said how it's precisely set up and denounced as a God, you're an idiot. You are an idiot. What you got there? What's white turban? What's that about? White turban. Something.
Oh, no, that's for later when you going into this?
You're going back to it. Yeah? Oh yeah.
That's for later, D.
Okay, cool. Let's go back to where we at? Let's go back to the page again. So that was a quick sidebar. So we go into this history, not really a sidebar. We go into this history, and we show y'all all these historical accounts. The mics went out. Well, my mic went out.
One, two.
Nah, you good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you
These
good.
historical accounts. It substantiates that there's a God. It substantiates that there is a God. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. You have carnal ways to explain it or whatever, but the Bible is the best source to provide it, to prove it in history. So where we at now?
So basically, when she said you do your own research, meaning go read the Bible.
Right. That was 83. Go read the Bible, basically. That's what she's saying. We read the Bible. Yep. That was page 83, right? Go to page 84. Go to on April 30th. We're going to end that on page 85, Voyage to the Indies.
On April 30th, 1492, trumpets were sounded, and the alcaldes publicly announced in Santa Fe and everywhere throughout the kingdom at one and the same time that by the end of July, all Jews and Jewesses with their possessions should leave Spain, on pain of death and confiscation of their property by the state.
By the state, damn.
After that date, no Spaniard was to harbor a Jew in his house or render him any assistance.
White man can't help.
The hell is
Go
this?
ahead.
On April 30th, the very day on which the expulsion of the Jews was everywhere publicly announced, Columbus was ordered to equip a fleet for his voyage to the Indies. And at the same time, he received the contract, which on April 17th had been arranged in Santa Fe between him and Juan de la Coloma, the latter acting on behalf of the Spanish sovereigns. Ferdinand, who had long energetically opposed the expedition, was
Keep going.
Go
to Ferdinand.
Was obliged to yield thanks to Columbus's persistency and was obliged to accept the explorer's excessive demands, which had twice caused the negotiations to be discontinued. He granted him the title of admiral with all his privileges and made him viceroy and governor-general of all lands which he might discover or acquire. Columbus was not content with dignities and honors for himself and his descendants. He desired also to derive considerable material profit from his voyages. The chief aim of his explorations was, in fact, to find gold.
That was his whole agenda, to find gold, wealth. Go ahead.
And in a letter to the queen, he frankly declared that this gold might even be the means of purifying the souls of men and of securing their entrance into paradise. Thus, he stipulated that he was to have a tenth of all pearls, precious stones, gold, silver, spices, and other wares. In short, a tenth of everything found, bought, bartered, or otherwise obtained in the newly discovered lands.
If I find anything over there, I want a tenth of it. Whatever I find, I want a tenth of it. Go ahead.
He was also to have an additional eighth of the profits of the present enterprise and of all similar ventures undertaken in the future, provided he should contribute an eighth of the expense. Columbus now made preparations for his voyage. He went from Granada directly to the little port of Palos, which for some delinquency had been ordered by Ferdinand and his consort to equip two caravels
within 10 days.
Within 10 days. There he soon enlisted in behalf of his enterprise the services of the rich brothers Pinzon, who enjoyed a very high reputation among navigators. In Palos, he also secured his sailors and traveling companions. The Jews, under the ban of expulsion, made preparations to leave the beautiful land which for centuries had been the cherished home of their ancestors.
Go down to August. Go down to August 7th. I'm read too much. August. Is it 7th? Go to
Second.
August 2nd. Yeah, 2nd. Go ahead.
On August 2nd, 1492, which fell on the day of mourning for the twofold destruction of Jerusalem, 300,000 Jews, according to some writers, the number was much larger, left Spain to settle in.
That's millions of Jews left, not 300,000.
To settle in Africa.
So many of the Jews, 300,000, this is even more than that. Millions, not 300,000, millions, fled into where?
Into Africa.
Africa. Go ahead.
Turkey, Portugal, Italy, and France. On that ever memorable day,
memorable day.
They sailed from the harbors of Cartagena.
Cartagena is Carthage. Cartagena is New Carthage. Nova Carthage. Cartagena, go ahead, which was once belonged to us. Go ahead.
Valencia, Cadiz, Laredo, Barcelona, and Tarragona.
Tarragona is Africa. Tarragona is a part of Africa. Go ahead.
Laredo, Barcelona, and Tarragona.
In Africa. Go to page 89. Were these any?
Were there any persons of Jewish extraction on the Armada which, under Columbus's guidance, steered its course towards a new world? It was not easy for him to
find.
find.
Were there any persons of Jewish extraction on the Armada which, under Columbus's guidance, steered its course towards a new world? So the question being asked, were there Jews in Columbus's fleet? The answer is yes. Read on.
It was not easy for him to find men willing to accompany him on his adventurous voyage. Even persons guilty of crime were released from prison on condition that they should enroll themselves among the recruits.
So you had criminals out of jail that were allowed to accompany Columbus for numbers on his fleet to assist on his travels to America. That explains the raping, the robbing, the pillaging, and the violence that followed when they arrived here. Okay? Go ahead.
What was to prevent Jews?
We're going to stop at page 91. Voyage. Jewish seamen voyage. Go ahead.
What was to prevent Jews under the ban of expulsion, persecuted and homeless, from taking part in the voyage?
Right. Remember, you're being kicked out of your land, so why not just leave a Columbus? Where is safety? Now you're safe. Rather than get your things confiscated, get locked up, burnt at the stake, or enslaved, you can flee on Columbus's ship. That was the option. The Jews had an option. They have an alternative. They chose to sail with Columbus. Watch this.
Among the explorer's companions whose names have come down to us, the complete list is lost. There were several men of Jewish stock.
Several men of Jewish stock on Columbus's ship. Watch this.
For example, Luis de Torres.
Luis de Torres was the translator. Columbus used this guy as a translator to speak to the natives. So he knew when he came to this side of the world who he was talking to, who he was coming to see. I proved this and showed this chapters ago that Columbus studied thoroughly the books of Isaiah and Esdras and the Apocrypha to confirm that there is land on this side of the world and God's people on it. Okay?
And that movie 1492.
That's right.
Also,
we mentioned Esdras.
Esdras, yep.
But it says, for example, Luis de Torres, a very famous name, was a Jew. Watch this.
A Jew who had occupied a position under the governor of Marcia and who was baptized shortly before Columbus sailed.
So he was converted into Christianity. This Jew right here. Go ahead.
As he understood Hebrew, Chaldee, and some Arabic.
He understood Hebrew, Chaldee, and Arabic. Go ahead, because remember, the Moors. So of course he's going to know Arabic. Go ahead.
Columbus employed him as interpreter.
As in a what?
Interpreter.
As an interpreter. As an interpreter to talk to who? Indians? In India? No. No.
And Dick, also, if you watch some old Western movies, you always see the troops have a so-called Indian in their army that speak the language. They're always speaking with the natives, with the troops, United
Right.
States troops.
But this guy, Luis de Torres, was employed by Columbus as an interpreter. If Columbus was going to India, literal India, where Elam is, the Iranians, that's the lie, right? Oh, he was trying to find India and he got lost. Why would he hire Columbus as an interpreter?
Right.
I mean, Leo Torres as an interpreter who spoke Hebrew, Chaldean, Arabic. You don't say he spoke Indian of Elam. Elam wasn't speaking no damn Chaldean, Hebrew, or Arabic over there in India. So when Columbus came to this side of the world and he hired this guy as an interpreter, he knew exactly who he was going to encounter when he arrived here. He knew exactly who I'm going to use this guy to speak to the guys who are going to be over there. Because who's over there will be Israelites. Go ahead.
Alonzo de la Cal was also of Jewish lineage.
Why do they have Luis de Torres as a Jew? Why is Alonso de la Cal a Jew? Because when you get baptized into Christianity, they change your name and give you Spanish names. Take away your Jew name, give you a Spanish name.
Right.
Like, for example, when the Negroes arrived to this side of the world, I showed you that earlier in that book, Lerone Bennett, Before the Mayflower, it's one of the most popular names was Antonio. That was a common name. Isabella, common name. Tony Congo.
Tony Congo, Angola.
Right, but these are names. And then when the British came and took over the lands that Spain had in possession, they changed those Spanish names into English names. But they were still Christian. Okay, read on.
His name was derived from the Jews' lane, from which he came.
So he came from an area where Jews lived. Go ahead.
From which he came. He died in Española, May 23rd, 1503. Rodrigo Sanchez of Segovia was a relative of the treasurer Gabriel Sanchez, and he took part in the first voyage at the particular request of Queen Isabella.
Another Jew. Go ahead.
The ship physician,
Ship doctor.
Mastre Bernal, and the surgeon, Surgeano Marco, was also of Jewish stock.
These are all Jews. Surgeano, a surgeon. Marco, a Jew. Go ahead.
Bernal had formerly lived in Tortosa, and as an adherent of Judaism,
He was an open Jew. An adherent of Judaism. Go ahead.
Paul Lele de Mosin had undergone public penance at Valencia in October 1490, at the same time as Solomon Adret and his wife Isabel were burned.
Burned for what? Observing Judaism. So these guys were safe. These guys were safe on Columbus's ship that were openly Jews.
So the
hell is this?
The majority of these brothers that came over before they got on these ships, they became Negroes
Right, pretty much.
by being converted over.
Right, to Spain. Right, they became Spaniards. Afro-Spaniards, pretty much. Or Latinos, pretty much they became. Latinos. Go down.
When the fleet, whose crew was a very mixed body of men,
Very mixed body of men. Go ahead.
Spaniards,
Spaniards are on the ship.
Moors,
Moors are on the ship.
and Jews,
And Jews, which are the same people on the ship. Go ahead.
as well as an Irishman and a Genoese,
Spaniard, most Spaniard, Italians. Go ahead.
had covered more than 2,000 miles. The seamen began to murmur loudly at the intolerable length of the
It
voyage.
was a long voyage. Go ahead.
Columbus calmed them as well as he could. On October 11th, after the customary evening,
That's about a year's journey. A year on ship, it's like a year's journey from Spain to here. Go ahead.
the customary evening hymn, he admonished his crew to keep a sharp lookout for land. In addition to the gratuity of 10,000 maravedis offered by the king, he promised a silk waistcoat to him who should first sight land.
So whoever spots the land first, he'll get a silk waistcoat. Go ahead.
At last, early on Friday morning, October 12th, the day on which the Jews expelled from Spain and their co-religionists in every part of the world were singing their hosannas.
Their praises.
The cry, "Tiara, tiara, land, land," arose from the Penta.
The Pinta,
Santa,
Santa Maria, and the good ship Jesus.
Good ship Jesus.
Go ahead.
In his journal, Columbus confesses that land was first seen by one of his sailors, but the avarice avaricious explorer could not withstand the temptation to claim the royal gratuity of 10,000 maravedis. And the poor sailor lost this as well as the promised waistcoat.
He's full of crap. He said, if you guys, whoever sees land first will get the silk waistcoat. Then when they spot the land, he said, yeah, you ain't getting nothing.
Yeah, I'm going to take that.
I'm going to take that.
He stole from the old
his own sellers. He took credit for it. He took credit for his own sellers who found the land.
He started stealing before he hit land.
Yeah, he started stealing even then. Go ahead.
Damn thief.
Who was the fortunate mariner whose hopes were thus shattered?
Damn.
Goncalo Fernandez de Oviedo, who saw the Jews depart from Spain and heard their doleful lamentations, was informed, so he tells us, by Vicente Pizon, the commander of the Nina.
Oh, the commander. He had Jews, the commander of the Nina. Go ahead.
And by the seaman Hernan Perez Mateos, that it was a sailor from Lepi who first saw a distant light and cried land. According to Oviedo, when this man found that he had been defrauded of the gratuity,
damn,
he obtained his discharge and went to Africa, and there discarded Christianity for his old faith.
What was his old faith? Judaism. Man, these guys play me, man. I found out I discovered land, and you play me, man. I got
be no damn Christian.
Hell of Christianity. It's garbage. Go ahead.
The chronicler does not inform us whether the old faith was Judaism.
It was.
According to others, it was Rodrigo de Triana, a sailor of the Pinta, who first cried land.
Go ahead. Either or, one of his Jews found land.
Right.
Go ahead.
Why?
You know why Jews? Because we knew the land was. Because we knew the land was over there.
Right.
Remember, we traveled back and forth over there. We knew there was land over there.
Right. We made the maps for him.
Yeah, we made right.
The instruments, the navigation instruments for this dude.
Yep. Go ahead.
The land was Watlin's Island, or perhaps Ackland Island. The natives called it Guanahani.
Guanahani.
Mm-hmm. We are told that it was given this name by the Spanish Jews on board the Pinta.
Wow, go ahead.
And Guanahani is even said to be formed from Hebrew words.
Wow. So the Jews in the ship called it that, and the Jews in the Americas, Israel, Native Americans in the Americas, called it that too. For whatever reason. Go ahead.
A professor of the Oriental languages in Tacubaya, who comes from Maon on the island of Menorca, and who calls Isaac Abravanel his ancestor.
Oh, you know Abravanel.
Right.
Who calls Isaac Abravanel his ancestor. So this guy here, a professor of the Oriental languages in Tacubaya, who comes from Mahon on the island of Menorca, who calls Isaac Abravanel his ancestor, claims that what?
Claims to have been led to this etymological discovery by a Spanish ballad, which he asserts he received from Spanish Jews in Barbary.
Spanish Jews in Barbary, as in the Barbary states, the Maghreb, Mauritania, Tunisia. That's the Barbary states. That they called their land by that name was commonly used over there too. The Native Americans called it that. They called it Guanahani, and that term was used over there in Africa too. Same. So you had two people, different sides of the world, using the same words.
So that links us right.
That links
us
right there.
Alone.
That links us right there. Go ahead.
Does this book states Guanahani today?
What it mean? No.
Oh, okay.
It says Guanahani was called later on. They called it
a professor of the Oriental languages.
No. The Spaniards called it something island. Go up some. Go back up. Yeah, they called it Ackland Island or Watling's Island today. They call it that, but the natives called it Guanahani.
Guanahani, right.
And our brothers in the Barbary states of Africa who spoke Hebrew called their land over there the same thing.
The Queen's Staircase, that's in the Bahamas, ain't it? No.
What?
The Queen's Staircase, the staircase that was carved with the slaves by hand coming from the seaport.
Oh wow, I don't remember why.
Yeah, because somehow
Guanahani.
Yeah, has relations to the Bahamas.
Maybe, I don't know. Let's look it up.
I got it here.
You found it?
Go to Wikipedia and pull up Guanahani. Real quick.
Let's see if there's any historical significance to this.
Like it's definitely connected to today.
Yeah, it's we know what it is.
What kind of juice is this? This thing is burning my lip.
Apple, ginger, carrot.
It's the ginger. It's the ginger that's burning.
Right?
Yeah,
The
that
ginger,
good
they got
stuff
that
for you,
spice in
D.
it.
Like it's
So
putting
your
herpes
vocals-
in my mouth.
So your vocals could keep, you know what I mean?
The food kind of
Hey, shout out to the
STD.
Benjamite. The Benjamite.
yeah, shout out to the kitchen team, man, for putting this juice together. Little help, you know what I mean?
This ginger's doing some wonders to my lip.
That's Soldier Benjamin, right?
Yeah, so
Soldier Benjamin.
Soldier Benjamin's wife.
Benjamin's wife.
You gotta
All
change these
praises.
cups, man. These cups is up.
Don't worry, Deke. We got it coming.
Cups is kind of hood, man. We gotta, it's like a Friday
Right,
movie. These damn cups.
Like a rapper's podcast or something with cups.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
We got to
It
talk
is.
to Soldier Jacob, man.
You got something for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, go
Found
ahead.
it is. Side to
Yeah,
that.
and with the Queen Staircase.
Damn.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It looks
Blow it
like
up.
the Bahamas. too.
Blow it up. Let's see what this is.
Yeah, it goes into the Bahamas.
Correct.
Blow it up so we can look at it.
Guanahani.
Guanahani is an island in the Bahamas
Damn.
that was the first land in the New World sighted and visited by Christopher Columbus. First voyage on
October 12,
October.
22. That's
Right.
it.
Hey, so imagine till this day, our people spend the most money with Carnival to go visit this site.
That
but-
island.
That island. Because the Queen Staircase is in Bahamas.
What's
and
the
you-
Queen's Staircase? What's that?
Pull that up. Pull that
the
up.
Queen's
You're going to
Staircase.
say.
Let's
So
see
that
some more
way there
first.
just to
Let's
see
finish
it.
up, finish it up
Yeah.
first.
Not knowing.
Not knowing
that
the
the
history that's
ancestor-
tied up behind it.
ancestor
You know what I mean?
built
It has been shaped out. It is a what? It is a
It is a bean-shaped island that Columbus changed from its native Taino name to San Salvador.
the son or salvation savior. Salvador Savior. What's son mean? Saint
Savior.
Savior.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Guanahani has traditionally been identified with Watlin's Island,
That's it.
which was officially renamed San Salvador Island in 1925 as a result. But modern scholars are divided on the accuracy of this identification, and several alternative candidates in and around
Blah
the-
blah 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 blah. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. It's just we
We-
just
we
wanted to
named
make
this
that
ours.
connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's go to the Queen's. Is it Queen's Staircase?
Yeah.
What's that? Let's go down. The Queen's Staircase.
Yeah. So the history behind that was the slaves that was brought to that island. They literally carved their staircase with their hands and tools, and they died during that. They died to throw them over in the sea, and they did that whole staircase, the slaves by hand. Let me see if I could find
Right
another
there, Queen's
piece of-
Staircase.
Yep.
Nassau.
Yep.
That's an island. Yeah, Bahamian. Yeah.
Yep.
The Bahamas.
We want to go see create escape route from above is. Now we
It's
wanted
right
to
there.
see how it
Queen's
was built.
Staircase is a walkway of 65
That's it?
steps, 102 feet.
With stones. Hold on.
It's covered solid limestone by 600 slaves
There you go.
between
Read
1793
that, man. Damn.
and 1794.
The Queen's
1 year.
Staircase.
The Queen's Staircase is a walkway of 65 steps, 102 feet, 31 meters, in Nassau, the capital city of the Bahamas. It was carved out of solid limestone rock by 600 slaves between 1793 and 1794 to create an escape route from the fort above, and is a major landmark of Nassau. The stairs were located at Fort Fincastle Historic Complex near Bennett's Hill in downtown Nassau, next to Princess Margaret Hospital and Grosvenor campus of the University of the Bahamas.
Right. So there's another documentary on this that shows you the atrocities. Like they just gave you a brief rundown. To carve limestone with your bare hands, that's not no joke. That's not no joke. They use heavy machinery to carve these stones. And the slaves did it with their bare hands, bro.
Wow.
And those are our people. But we usually
in 1
go,
year, though. This is in 1 year.
Yeah, we go to
600
these sites and give Carnival all these crews all that money, but are oblivious. You got to talk to the indigenous people of the island to understand this history.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's just a
Well, is this the same as Guanahani? Is it the same area or something different?
yeah. They see Guanahani is side of
Bahamas.
Bahamas.
It's all
Yep,
it's all
it's still the
Bahamas.
same area.
Same
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Wow.
Guanahani is the Bahamas.
Bahamas.
Yep,
So they carve stones, they bare hands.
with their bare hands,
That's
with
the
chisel
capital.
tools.
Nassau's the capital of that.
Right.
Wow.
The things we
that's a
did to
hard
try to escape slavery, man.
Bro, that's
It's-
it, man. It's crazy. So our history is written all over the face of this world, but kept hidden. You know what
Let's
I
go back. Thank you, officer, for adding depression to this.
mean? Remember what
just
it says
read it?
in Maccabees.
Yeah,
Don't
I
take
know.
it as depression. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you heard that.
That's what the scripture said. D. Don't be depressed about this.
Yeah,
Right here.
I know, man. It's sad, but
It's live, Deacon. It's a wrap.
I need the Men in Black neuralizer real fast.
Man, all right, let's go back to the page.
Let's go back, go down. Barbary, according to this ballad, right there.
According to this ballad, in which there is a sprinkling of Hebrew and Arabic words, as soon as Rodrigo de Triana saw that's not it.
That's 98. Nah. What page is that? 92. Go to 91. Go to 91. You read too far down. Go to stop at Voyage. Where we at? Where's Voyage at?
Oh,
right there. Damn, you read too far.
Sorry, D. It was getting good, man.
It was getting good, bro.
Apologize,
Damn.
D.
Let me see. What page is that? That was
91.
91.
Get 93 here. Get 93. Give them that. We're gonna end it on 93. Give me in the meantime, get me Jews in Mexico. Wikipedia. It's there. Jews in Mexico. How'd they get over there?
It's all gonna come together.
This is entitled The Inquisition in the Americas. Chapter what, Abaddon? Chapter what?
Chapter 32.
32. Inquisition in the Americas. Yeah, that's it. That gotta be it. We're gonna start at. Go to the history. The history. And we're gonna end at Spanish Inquisition. So we're gonna start from the top. End at Spanish Inquisition, and get some more scriptures.
The history of the Jews in Mexico can be.
Go ahead.
The history of the Jews in Mexico can be said to have begun in 1519 with the arrival of Conversos.
The arrival of who?
Conversos,
No, Conversos are.
often called Marranos, are crypto Jews.
Now you know Moranos goes back to what word? Morenos. Remember that? That's the book. That was in that book I showed y'all a few weeks back. Conversos are Jews that convert to Christianity.
And
Also referred to as Moranos, going back to the false term pigs, going back to blacks. Morenos. Morenos is the same words. Okay? Or what? Or crypto Jews. Jews that pretend to be Christian, but they're not. Okay? You had conversos, you had fake converts, and then you had real converts. Go ahead.
referring to those Jews forcibly converted to Catholicism, and that then became subject to the Spanish Inquisition.
And then became subject to the Spanish Inquisition. Got that page already? You got it? You're still working on it? So Columbus's travel to the Americas is what led up to the eventual Inquisition coming to the Americas. Remember, the Jews that got in the ship with him, they were able to maintain Judaism on this side of the world when they stayed over here. Some of them stayed over here. Right. Some of his fleet, like Luis de Torres, he stayed here and married native women and had a family and everything. Some went back home, and some, stayed here. Go to page 93. We're going to end it on there.
And also, as Deacon was bringing out, as we were reading before, a lot of these Jews, we came over here out of desperation.
Right.
Because why? We were fleeing the Spanish Inquisition.
Right.
and everything that was taking place in Spain. And remember, the expulsion happened. Everything's going on at that time. It's high intensity. It's high intensity at that time for our people. You know, as far as slavery and they forcing us to take on the Christianity and so forth and so on. So, and they killing our children, killing our babies, enslaving our women, raping our women. So out of desperation, these men, they seen it fit for them to jump on the ship and head over here to escape that, you know. But and here they were, set foot on the Americas.
You got page 93? Yes, sir. From 92, it ends at okay, Rodrigo de Triana saw what?
As soon as Rodrigo de Triana saw land, he uttered the little Hebrew word, island, to one of his Jewish comrades. The latter then asked in the same language, Wana, and where? Thereupon Triana responded, Henai, there is the island. Thus originated the name.
Henai means hen, I. The I is island, hen is their island. We didn't have, rather than say there is the island, it's conjunction. We didn't have conjunctions. Like Native Americans, when they were taught to speak English, they spoke English the way Hebrew spoken. Like, for example, I would say to you, my name is Aitan, right? So rather than say my name is Aitan, in Hebrew it would be Shem Aitan, or as in name Aitan, or Aitan name. Rather than my name is, it's just name Aitan. So when he said Hen I, he said rather than say where is the island, he's just saying where island. Hen is where. So hen is there, their island. Rather than there is the island, he's saying their island. So Native Americans go, me, so-and-so. You watch a movie, so Native Americans talk,
Right, yeah.
I, so-and-so, chief so-and-so.
Like third
Him,
person.
so-and-so.
Yeah.
Third person.
They spoke English the way they spoke in Hebrew. That's how there was no conjunction words, really, in Hebrew.
So
I'm not a specialist in Hebrew languages. The Hebrew language is damn near dead. But I read enough to know that there were no conjunctive words. That's the term, I think it's conjunctive words within the language that bridges the gap. Where rather than he is upstairs, in Hebrew it will be he upstairs rather than he is upstairs, like that.
Right, and that's why in a lot of language, if you go to Google and translate a certain phrase, it will give you the English way of how it would say in standard English.
Right.
But to someone in that language, it will be incorrect.
Right.
For example, you translate Creole into English, it'll sound all backwards, all messed up, because we're translated from the dialect of that tongue to the English tongue. Yeah, so that makes a whole world of difference.
Right. So read on. Thereupon,
Triana responded, Henai, there's the island. Thus originated the name Yuani or Guanahani.
Oh, there's a Guanahani, you and I, Guahani, yes, that means there's their island.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Their island, that's what it means.
Bahamas Island.
Bahamas means, the island. Their island, that's what it means, Guanahani, go ahead.
This childish explanation of the word is not worthy of serious consideration.
Uh-huh.
Rodrigo de Triana was not a Jew, nor did he speak Hebrew, and Guanahani is known to be a word of Indian origin.
Well, either way, it's still a Hebrew word.
That's right.
So he's just, the author's trying to dismiss what they said the word means, which is whatever. Either way, it was given a Hebrew name, like Kis, and like DR was referred to as called the DR was called Quisqueya.
Yep. Right.
Not Española. It was called Quisqueya. It was called. I know what the ya means.
Yeah, because
I don't know what the kiss means.
Yeah.
And in Haiti is Iet. Iet is in the Bible. Iet is Ithiel in Proverbs 30.
Yep.
Which means Ithiel means. I think it goes close to. I think it goes to Emmanuel. Ithiel means. Hold on.
Over the house of God. You just over the house of God.
I don't find what it means. Ithiel means.
Also, you see how you say DR was Quisqueya, right?
Yeah.
Remember, Haiti and DR was one island before it was divided. So it was Quisqueya and Oboyo, another Hebrew term. Identify that land.
This is the words of God. That word varies. I've heard something else. It means something else. But from what I've heard, it's AET is a Hebrew word also. IET, like Cuba. The word Cuba is that's in his book too. Cuba means is Kaaba, and Kaaba means helmet. Cuba is Kaaba. Kaaba means helmet. Like Maurice is a Hebrew word. That's all in his book. That's all in his book here. 98. I think I bought this out.
Right. Chapters
ago.
Like chapters ago. We always put our names, where we settled.
Oh, it's not kayak. Hammock. That's the thing is. A hammock.
Oh, okay, yeah, hammock. Where you swing.
Yeah. That's all we want. That's good enough. So let's go to Jews in Mexico. Jews in Mexico. Let's go back to that again. Yeah, IAT means something. I forgot. Me and Captain Isaac went over it like months ago. Forgot what it means. We're still going. We're still researching that now.
That means signs or the word of God.
It means word of God or something else.
Or he who understands signs.
Yeah, possibly.
Word of God or he who understands.
I'm not gonna stand firm on that one. Right now, I'll keep it subjective.
Yeah. So, but just like Quisqueya and Oboyo, both is of
Hebrew words.
words.
You go to this same book. I think around page 95 to like 98. It gives you the Hebrew words the Native Americans use for rivers. Their names are Hebrew names, things of that nature. That's all in this book here. And the Jewish Encyclopedia, they cite this book. They reference it. For the word Arsareth, it references page 16 of this book, where the Israelites are going to be at. We're going to go to history. The history section here, the history section of this link here. Let's get Job 30, verse 8.
The book of Job, chapter 30, verse 8.
Bring it out.
They were children of fools, yea, children of base men.
This is the heathen, the so-called white man. Go ahead.
They were viler than the earth.
Viler than the earth. Go ahead.
And now am I their song, yea, I am their byword. They abhor me, they flee far from me, and spare not to spit in my face.
So they were children of fools, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Give me Daniel 4:17. Base men, viler than the earth.
The book of Daniel, chapter 4, verse 17.
I'm going to show you how vile they were. We're going to get to how vile they were in a minute.
This matter is by decree of the watchers,
Angels.
and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men.
The basis of men. Which is who today? The so-called white man today.
Bums.
Is the basis of men, the vilest of the earth, the vilest of the vile.
The vagabond.
Vagabond, the fugitives. Got you. So we're going to take a quick break. What time is it now?
2:26.
Like a quick break, and we'll be back. Y'all can post y'all
Questions.
I prefer you just post your questions on the text. So text the number text us at what's the number again? 267-702-6121. That's 267-702-6121 when we get back.
And also include your name.
Prepare yourself for your questions. Huh?
Include your name and the state you're calling from so we can be more familiar with you guys.
Right.
All right. Put your name in a state where you reaching out from. All right.
So we'll be back. Stay tuned. Shalom Israel, no son Christ bless. Deacon Don here of IUIC Philadelphia. You're tuned in to Our Hidden History Radio, where we go into deep understanding and history of who we are, according to the Bible,
hidden artifacts, archaeology, or geography, or you can think of that shrouds around our history of the Bible, we go into it in depth. So Israel, like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube channel, Our Hidden History Radio. See you then. Shalom, Most High Pastor.
Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. You know history, history.
Go get that for us. Hey, this brother, man, he needs some oil on. And some fasting and prayer. Bro, you got enough waves, bro. Hey, I need some more of that banana pudding. Hey, shalom, God, most high Christ. Bless you. How's the wife? Good. How about you? By that time, I'm good too. Hey, shalom. Hey, there he is. Hey, how's the wife? Yeah. Hey, man, you a fool, bro. Hey, shalom, most high God bless you. Hey, how's the wife? You know what I'm saying? That's right, bro. But we're gonna find you one. We're gonna get you round out.
All right. You already know I'm there. Hold on.
Hey, man, who told you to come out looking like I'll start going on? Hey, bro, got them shades on. Yeah, with the cool shades, with the beard and stuff. Let's hear from the spirits of the brother, because you know that he started that shade glasses. He did. He started that. So we got a sister for you at Passover. We got a spot for you. I'm tripping, bro. Hey, brother found out one script. Hey, we
Speaking of wives, bro, I'm trying to be on wife number 2. Yeah.
Hell no. Hey, what's wrong with this brother? What you mean wife number 2, bro?
What you mean what I mean?
What did Christ say about the wife?
Bro, Solomon had multiple wives. Moses.
Are you Solomon?
I could run them down.
Are you Solomon? We follow.
I don't have to be Solomon.
We follow Christ, bro. We follow Christ. How long you been here? The truth? He been here more than we did. That's the problem. He came in with
he need that black ashy devil oil, bro. That's what he needs.
Yeah, and he need a script first.
Yeah.
Let him get a script. Give him a script. What the hell was talking about?
Yeah.
Matthew 19:5. Are you wicked, right?
Hey.
Bro.
Hey, man, go get that.
Go get that black ashy devil oil.
Make sure you get that frankincense and myrrh.
I forgot. I gotta go do something real quick. I'm gonna come back.
See that script for you, though.
I'm gonna come back.
I got to see that script. Hey, that brother. He came in with you. He came in with you.
That's your guy.
That's your bro. That's right. Hey, y'all ain't gonna keep playing with me, man.
That's your guy.
That brother got that bird brain for real.
For real.
Ça c'est mon qui pas qui mémoire. Bread, ça c'est mon esprit au pas droite. Bread, ça c'est mon cap côté gaga. Bread, c'est mon qui pas obéir la loi. Bird brain are the ones that make up doctrines. Bird brain are the ones that's full of toxin. Bird brain, 7 demons came back knocking. Bird brain, sacrifices full of spots. Quand non pas yon moun qui t'a remégué yon bird brain. You must étudier la Bible pour pas tourner yon insane. Fou, c'est ça veut dire en anglais. Courage, son bagay que ou pas gagné. Before bird brain, get les têtes chaudes, ça yon besoin, c'est pour tête zot, l'eau, fait yon ouais. Raison Jésus-Christ, t'es vine mourir. C'est seulement pour lui, t'es sauvé Israël, les 12 tribus. Bird brain chaque jour sur Facebook, mouvement pan yon pas bon clou. Yo a fait accusation, mais yo yon pas gain aucun proof. They stay making videos on what I USA. They was never with us, cause if they was, then they would be here. Most I really know pun c'est un femelle, yo agit. Gird up your loins, stop complaining, and mon chien go hit the streets. Bread, ça c'est mon qui pas gain mémoire. Bread, ça c'est mon esprit au pas droite. Bread, ça c'est mon cap côté gaga. Bread, c'est mon qui pas obéir la loi. Bird brain are the ones that make up doctrines. Bird brain are the ones that's full of toxin. Bird brain, 7 demons came back knocking.
Alright, so this is why I'm
full of spots.
moving.
Every Sabbath we be in the streets. No other camps do it like we. Lazy. Fat body get murmuring against our lid. Trying to sit yourselves in Moses' seat. Angry.
Sick of preeminence, can't take correction. Who this brother's really reflecting? I pray this brother's repent and stay humble. Move the block so they won't stumble. Gotta stay in line, knowing Christ coming back in the town. Don't wanna get caught drinking wine. Knowing that you could die in a moment. That's why we gotta pray and always give an atonement. Make sure that we're not a opponent. Don't wanna be the one, only want to be righteous with a crown of right garment. Pardon me, but I'm being quite honest. Pardon me, but I'm being quite honest. Got the block, lies don't stop, making noise like these flip flops. Bird brain, I better yet bird box. They have eyes, but really they see not. It's beautiful, Charlie. Make a face ass. Let me stop, but let me stay on task. But it makes me mad, yellow makes me sad. Leaving for trash. I just wanna stand up.
I was in IUIC, so I know what I'm talking about.
Are the ones that make up doctrines. Bird brain are the ones that's full of toxin. Bird brain. 7 demons came back knocking. Bird brain. Sacrifices full of spots.
It's sadly to see how these people do anything just to get on so that they can be seen. I'm up with your sower, letting it go for the surplus. You thought you can come and usurp us with IUIC. All at the byways, exalting our voice in the high rich, rebuking demons, acting outright, not hiding in companies, cyber serpent, looking for dummies to leech. You speak English, but instead not plain speech. I ain't thinking you a puppet, but you better stop it. Only word about prophesying, trying to chase the green. How you look at me, full of envying. And I'm a nation, Satan's vessel. Damn Sambo, you rose the threshold. Better repent before Christ come through like Colonel Mustang. Snap bang, your flame. Now feel pain worse than death. You must have been insane to flip flop. Now feel the hot box. You did tripped up, got slipped up. This movement won't stop till we take the top spot. You better kick rocks. Listen your face, don't get his grace. We ain't gon' quit now, cause you're a crazy angry. Ça c'est mon qui pas qui mémoire. Ça c'est mon esprit au pas droite. Ça c'est mon cap côté gaga. C'est mon qui pas obéi la loi.
Bird brain are the ones that make up doctrines. Bird brain are the ones that's full of toxin. Bird brain. 7 demons came back knocking. Bird brain. Sacrifices full of spots. Come on.
We're going to prove to you that Jésus-Christ is noir. He's a black man, no blanc. Nous allons prouver que Jésus-Christ est
Creole now? Yeah, what?
Too long. And believe it or not, that's the voice of God.
Yeah. I ain't gonna change. IUIC rejects.
We be getting missing, cause we be on a mission. We be on that stacking bricks that's taller than the ceiling. What the hell is you doing? Watching us gon' get you left. You be hating, man, you chasing, now you running out of breath. We be shining on the high, cause we be grinding on the low. Where you at and who you with, and tell me where you about to go. What the hell is you doing? Worry about what you doing. All you doing is you showing. Get your mind off us and worry about what you doing. Hey bro, I can see your mind touching on our topics. I can see your nose snooping around our projects. You can't stop this truth, can't slow down this progress. Better repent right now, cause you ain't dropped that project. Real talk, peel off, left him with his grill off. Blaming us cause he done fell off. All in your sins and made him run off. Well, you need to stop shooting them goddamn eyeballs. We be swishing over here, fishing over here, using scripts, no bait. You be scrubbing over there, struggling and fake loving all in my face. Yeah, bro, some of these fake cats wanna take our place. Got their eyes all on our plate. You need that milk, stop eating that steak. We be getting missing, cause we be on a mission. We be on that stacking bricks that's taller than the ceiling. What the hell is you doing? Watching us gon' get you left. You be hating, man, you chasing, now you running out of breath. We be shining on the high, cause we be grinding on the low. Where you at and who you with, and tell me where you about to go. What the hell is you doing? Worry about what you doing. All you doing is you showing. Get your mind off us and worry about what you doing.
We recording yet? We live?
Yeah, man, we live.
Okay. How many people we got online?
2.
2?
2.
All right. Roll with it. We are the Israelites, according to the Bible.
Right.
We are to teach so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that you are the Israelites,
Bring it
according
out.
to the Bible.
That's right.
It's time for us to wake up and to know who we are.
Right.
It's time for us to gather together.
Gather.
White man don't love us.
No love.
Nobody don't love us.
Bring it out.
We gotta love ourselves.
Love
How
ourselves.
we gonna do that? By gathering together.
Bring it out.
Give me Zephaniah, chapter 2, and verse 1.
That's right. Hey, you can't find it, Bishop? It's in the back of it's in the Old Testament at the end somewhere.
I know just what you doing. Stack no bricks, who you fooling. Never congregating like a student. You be homeschooling. You don't know your purpose. You belong in churches. Shalom, most high in Christ blessed, but never put no work in. We be in the trenches, always on a mission. For the 12 scattered abroad, yeah, we go the distance. It's an exhortation. Stop living in the matrix. You be waiting on the kingdom, do nothing to take it. Just face it. Oppressed and you complacent. Not by observation, but waking up the nation. What the hell is you doing? We be out to teaching. You committing treason. Last question, when you leaving? We be missing, cause we be on a mission. We be on that stacking bricks that's taller than the ceiling. What the hell is you doing? Watching us gon' get you left. You be hating and you chasing, now you running out of breath. We be shining on the high, cause we be grinding on the low. Where you at and who you with, and tell me where you about to go. What the hell is you doing? Worry about what you doing. All you doing is you showing. Get your mind off us and worry about what you doing.
Hey, what's your name? Your name Bishop what?
My name Bishop TD. Elder Sucker Jive. One man camp. One pillow, no sheets.
How many readers?
One reader.
And who the reader?
Myself. Me. One camp. One teacher. One.
Good vibes in the area. Well, man, I fight from the start. I mean, no carry grudge in the heart. Hatred make it turn for your people. Wise up, I feel be smart. DJ, turn up the vibes from the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in the heart. We no carry grudge in the heart. Everybody feel right, right. Good vibes in the place all night. Cause we don't carry grudge for people. We don't have time for your study, no evil. Don't make them catch you with the bad energy. Smiling on your face, but me I tell like them my enemy. How many times you try to cure them? I fi cut them out, that are the only remedy. Everybody go through things. We not perfect, so we don't do the blame game thing. Know this trial's gonna come one day. I fi endure, adapt me a sing. Any function must clean, then step out, peel out, jump in a car, tire screech out, GPS it have it put in the route, dream team touch the scene, everybody scream out. Wait up, turn up the lights on the start, ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in the heart, we no carry grudge in the heart. DJ, turn up the lights on the start, ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in the heart.
Energy them not real, them a fake.
But the grass low, so we get to see this near them.
Pass the cutlass, give me the ring.
A long time I don't tell them, say the whole of them are fake.
Them can't hold me down, cause it's a party night. Good vibes in the air, tonight me feeling right.
But I'm not hypocrite, but I'm not parasite. sweat and tears, endure self-sacrifice. Still not give up, cause me mind rest on the price. That just give me strength for overcome my enemies. Them full of hatred, them full of jealousy. Man, true to the thing, we no fake, we no counterfeit. I know for them, what they know them full of. Be perfect, Israel never quit. Have to be virgin the fire, so me tell you this. Man, true to the thing, we no fake, we no counterfeit. I know for them, what they know them full of. Be perfect, Israel never quit. Have to be virgin the fire, so me tell you this. Turn up the lights on the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in our we no carry grudge in our DJ. Turn up the lights on the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in our we no carry grudge in our
You're missing the crown on your head. I don't mean no disrespect, but why you worried about all these peasants? You are the king, my protector. I need you to rule over me, rule over me, you shine like the sun and the moon.
All right, we're back. We are back. We are
Back in effect.
In the break. And
That's
we're
right.
going to continue in the history of the Jews in Mexico.
Deep, when you get a chance, we got a couple of questions. Well, that's one question, right?
Yeah, let me get that question first. I'm only going to answer two for the lack of time.
All right. So this is from, I hope I'm pronounces it right, Jabez. This is from Jabez of New Jersey. All right. Could that be blown up a little bit? How do you tell between us black Jews and the white Jewish people who sail with Columbus as conquistadors, finance, right? That's what it said, finance, and had their own ships. How do you tell the difference between the black Jews and the white Jewish people who sailed with Columbus as conquistadors, finance, and had their own ships?
Well, there's a book called The Negro Almanac, and it gives you details regarding the names of the Jews that were with Columbus. I should have brought that book as well. Yeah, that question actually is pretty good. It's a good question. I'll bring that book, Lord. I'll bring that book out next. And kind of give a difference between who's who. Not much detail, but regardless of which Jew it was on the ship that was used as an interpreter, the fact that he had interpreters, the fact that he needed a Jew interpreter to speak to the Native Americans in itself speaks volumes.
Right.
So despite whether they were the black ones or the white ones that were on the ship, the only thing that I deem important to note is the fact that they were on the ship. That he employed them as interpreters. Because remember, the liars is that his job was to travel to India, and he got lost. So if he was supposed to go to India, or whatever, why would he employ a Hebrew interpreter to go speak to people in East India? Because he wasn't trying to go to India. He was trying to go to the Indies, the Americas. So, I mean, I can bring the book out. I can definitely bring the book that gives you that may give the names of the black ones or may not. Whether Lewis they taught us is a black Jew or a white one, I don't know. I believe Lewis they taught us was a black one. Definitely believe it's a black one. I got to look into it. But I'll look for that. The book is called the Negro Almanac, and I believe it mentions my name. So I'll look into that.
All right, we have a next one.
But it does say Jewish stock lineage.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's what it said. So it says Jewish stock lineage. That's not by conversion. That's by lineage. That's by general lineage. All right. You did have some that were on there, but they weren't considered Jews by lineage. They were converts. You know. But yeah. So where we at?
Next one. This is Saoirse from Newark, New Jersey. Shalom, Deacon. All praises to the Lord for the knowledge you give us. When you say they know who we are, do you think the average doctor, manager, or director knows? I'm still baffled that they can interact with us day in and day out and hide their hatred. I work in healthcare with many of the other nations, and I can't conceive that they could hold so deep a secret, and I could never do that. That's just a statement.
Okay. Well, I'm going to respond to that, but we'll go back to the brother was saying earlier. The bishop had brought out a book that gives a differentiation between the ones that financed the ships. That was the converts that financed Columbus's voyage and so forth. That was the converts, Edomite converts, and you had Jews also, because remember they were converted. They were cooned. Their minds were cooned. They were inquisitors. So you had convert Edomites, and you had Jakes that funded Columbus's voyage to come over here. Okay, and the confiscated wealth and power of the real Jews that was used to fund Columbus's voyage as well.
Right.
I brought that out like chapters ago. Also, that's actually in this book. So, in terms of to tell the difference, the book the bishop brought out in class, I think on Shower Tuesdays, it kind of explains it. But the one, I believe his question was geared towards who came over here with Columbus. Mm-hmm. You had a whole, remember his crew was mixed. So you had black ones and white ones, and you had Spaniards and so forth. So about this book doesn't really give you much detail. The Negro Almanac says he brought blacks on there with him. It said Jews and Moors.
Yeah. Yep.
That's in this book also. So to differentiate between who's who, I couldn't do that. But I believe Louis de Torres is definitely black. I've read somewhere where he was definitely a Jew by lineage, like an actual Israelite. All right? Hope that answers your question further.
Yeah, so...
But I will bring that Negro Almanac book, Lord's Will. I'll bring it next week. I'll try to see if I can look through it and see if it gives any names and detail. I think it does.
You know what? The book Lost Tribes in the Promised Lands, I'm not... I got to look it up for myself when I get home, but I think it said he was a Negro.
I'm going to get that one. You talking about Montezinos?
No, Lost Tribes. No, I'm talking about Louis de Torres and Lost Tribes in the Promised Lands, the book. I'm going to look it up. I'll look it up.
That he was Negro?
Right. I'll look it up when I get home.
All right.
I don't want to throw nothing out there.
Yeah. Well, I'll look for it now while you said that. Go ahead. Read the comment again.
I'll read the whole thing again. When you say they know who we are, do you think the average doctor, manager, or director knows? Because, we always say they understand, they know and they understand who we are. So their question was, do you think the average doctor, manager, or director knows?
Well, that type of knowledge is known by average and below average heathens. It's just that, that kind of information. Unless you want if you want your kingdom to fall, you're gonna share it. The elites. I mean, there's an expression. I'm a butcher it. But basically, what the expression was I read is that they said that enough people can know something, but if the majority don't know, that's all that matters. The minority of knowing something is not enough. So basically, you have some average people like what's the name, like directors and book writers and screenwriters. They do their research. They know.
Right.
The Spielbergs and the George Lucases and the Bruckheimers and the Quentin Tarantinos. They do research. They know what the Moors. They know that stuff.
Right.
They have to know. They got to read. But to share that information about us being the true people, they'll throw bits and pieces in movies, but they have people who they answer to that will not allow that.
Right.
You know?
And also, D, to add to that, if the question is really, do they know? Me personally, I think they do know. And like D is saying, they're not going to reveal it, but of course they know. If they claim to be a Christian or they go to church or they ever picked up a Bible, they know.
Right.
They know. Exodus 1:8, you know, in that captivity, they said, let's deal with these people wisely. Put us into slavery. You understand? Psalms 83 tells you all of them are confederate against us. So even the people that's not in Christianity, when they study us, they know who we are. They know. Some of them may not accept it. Some may not believe it. But they know because they're looking at the lowest nation of the people on earth, and they're supposed to fathom that these people will be rulers over me. They know. Yep, that's it, D.
So I just found a book with Luis de Torres calling him an Israelite in this book, saying the Israelite Luis de Torres. So most likely, yeah, he was Jake.
Yeah, I'm looking here. It says Luis de Torres. It says Maurice Jew. It says Luis de Torres, Spanish black Jew. Spanish black Jew. Let me see. I'm not sure if this guy cites his sources. Let me look at it.
That's it for the questions?
Yeah, we're just waiting to see if Deacon is going to bring up something real quick.
Yeah, this guy's saying he was a black Jew as well, but he's not citing his source. Give me a minute.
But yeah, so this history is vast history that we have. As you see through the different through the Spanish Inquisition and how things turned out for us as a people. Like we read in 2 Maccabees, it was because we was breaking God's laws. That's why all these things was coming upon us. Okay? Remember at the time we was ruling, but we was ruling the Dark Ages, but we was ruling in wickedness. So like now the time came where look, all right, it's time to put us into time for us to be punished now. Because of our sins and so forth and so on, because we was wicked as hell as a people during those time periods that we was ruling.
Take a further Lamentation 2:16. See what it says.
Yeah.
I remember Dick bring that out years ago. The Feast of Tabernacle.
The Book of Lamentations, chapter 2, verse 16.
Bring it out.
All thy enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we look for. We have found, we have seen it.
Right. So let's talk about all our enemies. How did they see it? Meaning that they read about it. You understand? So they do know.
Right, they know.
Right. So they know, yeah.
They was watching for our downfall.
Right.
They watching the whole time, spying out,
Read that part, it says, certainly.
Certainly, this is the day that we look for.
See, that's the day they look for. They was waiting for that day to take us down. Go ahead.
We have found, we have seen it.
See, they found that day, we have seen it. Where they see it at, they're reading it in our records.
You got it? Go to Jews and Conversos. We're gonna read there. We're gonna stop at practice.
Colonial period. Jews and Conversos were part of the conquest and colonization in Mexico, and key participants in the transatlantic and trans-Pacific trade networks, as well as development of domestic trade. Conversos accompanied Herman Cortez in 1519. These were members of Jewish families.
Hernan Cortez, right? Hernan Cortez,
sorry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In 1519.
Remember you had Ladinos. You had that black guy, Juan Guerrero. Juan Guerrero was with him too.
That's settled here. These were members of Jewish families which had been forcibly converted to Christianity to avoid expulsion from Spain after the reconquest of the Iberian Peninsula from the Moors. The reconquest was followed by the Spanish Inquisition, which made the Conversos one of their targets, with accusations of reverting to Judaic practice. During this time, there were the two types of Conversos: crypto-Jews and Jews.
Jews that pretend to be Christians were not, and Jews, open Jews. Go ahead.
Who fully converted to Catholicism. The Jews
and
who
coons. Go ahead.
The Jews who converted were used to report crypto-Jews to the Catholic Church, and consequently, they were awarded with high-powered positions.
That's called meritorious manumissions. That's what that is. Now hold that. Get that real quick. Meritorious manumission. Report. Their job is to report the Conversos. Their job is to report crypto Jews. Jews are set up to rat out other Jews keeping the commandments of God. And they got paid for it. It's called meritorious manumission. Type that in.
Informants,
right. Familiars.
I
showed you that during in the movie Blade. I gave you that example in Blade. Familiars. I hate familiars.
You got it? Oh, you trying to spell it? Oh, man, I forgot.
Meritorious.
Manumissions. Just try to get as close to the word as you can.
Merritorious. Merrito. It should start something for you after that.
Right.
Manumissions. Let's just type. Let's just click it. You read that part. What that say right there? Load up. Let's see what that says.
Meritorious manumissions could be granted to a slave who distinguished himself by saving the life of a white master or his property.
The hell is this?
Inventing something that a white slave master could make a profit from, or snitching on a slave rebellion.
There you go.
Bruh.
There you go. Meritorious manumission, or giving master an invention and the white man take credit for it. We got our freedom for that. Meritorious manumission. Get some more. Go down with some more. Some more of that. On meritorious manumission. Get some more of that. Go down to in history. Type that meritorious manumission. No, not manumission. No. I want meritorious manumission. Go down. No. To give details of what it is, or that's it. That's enough. So pretty much slaves telling all other slaves.
So you doing anything for your freedom,
for your master, anything to help master out. That's what inquisitors. Inquisitors were involved in meritorious manumissions. Let's go back to Mexico again. Report crypto Jews. Let me see the pictures. Let me see some pictures again. Load over and see. They got pictures next to this.
No, go down the other way. Yeah, keep going. So right.
Hey, what's that right there?
Somebody burning at the stake.
Execution of Mariana de Carballal, daughter of Francisca Nunez de Carballal in 1601.
Right there, see, Mexico, there was practicing Jews, right there, what the curse is? Practicing.
So they were accused of being practicing Jews, including Hernando Alonso, who built the boats Cortez used to assault the Tenochtitlan.
Wow.
However, the Mexican Inquisition was not fully established until 1571.
Go up,
All right, go back.
I won't go too far. Go up. Go up to end that practice. Go on. Continue there. Crypto Jews, the Jews who converted were
The Jews who fully converted to Catholicism. The Jews who converted were used to report crypto Jews to the Catholic Church, and consequently, they were awarded with high-powered positions within the Catholic Church. Furthermore, during this time, the Catholic Church was in charge of social welfare and was the most powerful entity. Converso migrations to the new Spanish colony began in 1530, after most of the violence from the conquest of the Aztec Empire has subsided.
right. And when they conquered Issachar on this side of the world, they started taking over, colonizing the land. Go ahead.
And the Spanish Inquisition continued. For several decades, the families were able to live peacefully, integrating into Mexico's elite, with some becoming prominent Catholic clergy and some returning to Jewish practice.
Some returning to what?
Jewish practice.
Some returning to Jewish practice. We're right back to Judaism now. Let's get the statue of Saint Maurice. Y'all turn the air off. I'm hot now. It's all right. You turned it off. That's fine. I'm good. St. Maurice. You leave. That's fine. Yeah, right there. That statue of St. Maurice. Which one, D? I want the one right there with the second one. This one? Yep. Okay, now I want y'all to pay attention. Blow it up. If possible.
That's it?
I need a bigger image than that. I need that same image but bigger.
So as was stated before, Columbus knew who he was coming over here to conquer. All right, like Deacon was bringing out. He read it in our scriptures. He knew that it was Hebrews on this side. He gathered together some men. Which one of them was Luis de Torres, who spoke Hebrew and Arabic.
Right there, with those two, one of those two, right there to the right, yeah.
And brought him over for that very reason.
Blow it up. All right, I'll deal with that then. All right, it's the statue of Saint Maurice. I believe the white is the stone and the black is the marble. The white is the stone of the statue, and the black, his skin they gave him, is the marble. He was black like that. I want y'all to focus on now. There's a book that Jazz had referenced called Lost Tribes of Promised Lands. I want you to type in, go to Montezinos. Type out. I don't want it. I just want to reference it. Montezinos. His real name was Aaron Levi, I believe. He was a Jew. And he encountered a Native American named Francisco. And based upon their conversation they had together, he encountered him. He came to realize that they were, Montezinos is Montesinos.
Put Montezano.
Montesino. Montesinos. S.
Yeah.
Yeah, Antonio de Montesinos. This one right here? Yeah, click that one. Let's see. Click that. down. Okay, that's it. Go up. Up to the top. That's fine. So this guy was the one that encountered the Native Americans, and they told him in a book called Lost Tribes of Promised Lands that their forefather was Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Reuben was their forefather, Reuben. Okay, and his name was, he was surnamed Antonio de Montezinos, but his real name was, let's go ahead and get his real name. Go down. He was a Dominican friar that was sent here to convert him. Now go down. To his actual name, early life. He can change his name back. He changed his name back. When he realized the Native Americans were his people, because they came out and spoke to him. Let's get that book, that page real quick. That page? What page is that? 365?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Sermon, go down to his name being changed back. He can change it to Aaron Levi.
Hey, go take a picture.
Sure.
Right there. Both pages.
6'4", 6'5", right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Should be it.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna show you the itis. I'm gonna share out something real quick. Something crazy. Now, he was sent over here as a Dominican friar, and he realized that the Native Americans were his brothers, were his people.
Montezinos. Yeah, these people knew who they was coming to conquer, man.
They knew.
What's that in Deuteronomy? Was that 28, 40, 49? No, nation come from afar.
Yeah, 49.
You got it?
Now, Wikipedia, I'm going to share something. I'm going to read the first paragraph regarding him. Antonio de Montezinos with a Z. Is that with a Z? Antonio de Montezinos, Montezinos. Open another window. Yes, sir. And type it that way. Montezinos. All right, I want that too. What you got? Read that. Read what you got.
Antonio.
Now, go back to St. Maurice again. I'm going to show y'all something. Go to that statue, picture him again. This is a king, a black king, a knight. See how they sketched him in stone, how they etched him in stone with a white stone and marble. I want y'all to focus on that right there, okay? Black marble. Now go to Montezinos with a Z. We're going to read the first paragraph. And we're going to read what he did. Come on.
Antonio.
Matter of fact, get that Lost Tribes of Promised Lands first. You got that page? I'm sorry, I got you all over the place. I'm sorry. Huh? No, we got it. All right, get those two pages first. So I'm going to share what he did. What happened, the history regarding him, because many scholars use his source, and you're gonna hear a familiar word regarding him that we've come across quite a number of times.
Y'all got both pages, right? 364.
I was under the impression a long time ago that he was a convert, that he was a so-called. That wouldn't make any sense regarding the situation.
Right.
We used to believe that Montezinos, this guy here, was a convert, but he was. I don't think he was. I'm gonna show you how I know he wasn't. Some you can discern which is which, some you can't. This kind of goes back to the original comment that was question that was asked to me earlier. Some you can determine with books, some you can't.
Right.
You got it? I'm going to read to y'all about Montezinos. His real name was Aaron Levi. That was his actual name. But when he was converted over to Christianity, his name was changed to Antonio de Montezinos. That name, Antonio, remember?
Right.
That was a common name among the Jews over there, when they brought over here as slaves. Antonio, Tony Congo, Anthony. Those are common names given to us. A lot of us took that name.
Christian names.
Christian names.
So, Deke, we're just going to ignore the part why his name was Levi? Like,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Hey, what cap at when you do
we're
it,
not
man?
even going to explain that part, right? That's all good, though.
I don't think
You
it's
know what I mean?
important.
Yeah. We're not even going to explain why Montezuma's real name had Levi in there.
Montesino?
Montesino.
Yeah, we're not going to explain that.
Levi.
Doesn't matter.
I can take educative guesses.
Doesn't matter to me.
You know?
That's a setup, bro.
Thank you, Sal, man. About time. You know what I'm saying, D?
I'll get to it in a minute.
All praise. We patient.
Very brief.
Yeah, we're patient about that.
Don't clap for that, man.
That's for you, Cat. That's for you, Cat. That's for you, Captain Joel, wherever you at right now. You know what I mean? A little segment for you.
Hey, I got the pages going on.
Man, I don't care about that, man. Just
he worry about his finger.
Damn fingerprint, man. Just blow it up.
Cut your damn nails. You wouldn't have a problem right
Let's
now.
Go ahead.
It says, among the New World Moranos, blessed be the name of the Lord who has not made.
So among the New World Moranos, remember, Moranos goes back to the word Conversos. Moranos goes back to the word Morenos, meaning blacks that were converted to Catholicism. Christian Catholicism, right? So this is the credo that they were commanded, to speak when they were converted over. Whether they were trained as Jesuits to push the garbage, or they were converted themselves. This is the credo, the Christianity credo. Watch this.
It says, blessed be the name of the Lord, who has not made me an idolater.
This is the prayer that you had to speak as a Christian. Watch this.
A barbarian. A Negro.
Wow.
An Indian.
So you sent up prayers as a Catholic. You had to state this here.
Damn.
Blessed be the Lord, name of the Lord. Blessed be the name of the Lord, who have not made me an idolater, a barbarian, going back to the Barbary states.
Correct.
A barbarian, a Negro, or an Indian.
Damn.
Go ahead. So remember, in Christianity, what they always say, we're all one in Christ Jesus.
Right.
Damn.
Ain't that what they say?
Damn lies.
We're all one in Christ Jesus. So the Christianity religion is a nationality, basically. That's why you ask Christian, what's your nationality? I'm a Christian. Mm-hmm. It's the same indoctrination.
Right.
So the Christians commanded the Moors and Jews, or Indian, when you send up prayers, blessed be the name of the Lord that have not made you an idolater, a barbarian, a Negro, or an Indian. Watch this. Go ahead, what you saying?
Yes, so Negroes give up their true heritage to be something that
To
they're
be a
not
Christian.
even part of.
Yeah.
Right, to be a Christian or a Spaniard.
Call yourself a Christian.
Yep.
You're a Christian now. You're not considered any of those things when you are a Christian.
Right.
Go ahead.
When suddenly he stopped, those Indians, he told himself, they are Hebrews. Pondering this thought incredulously, and yet with growing conviction, he resolved that if he ever was released, he would seek out the Indian Francisco and try to learn the
So
truth.
he was teaching, I think, and he got locked up for some reason, and he came across this guy named Francisco, who was a Native American who was converted and given a Spanish name like him. Native American's name is Francisco. And when they had a conversation, he said, yo, these Native Americans, from what Francisco told me, they're Hebrews, like me.
Right.
So read on.
Montezino's story unclear as to the circumstances of his incarceration.
Right, so it's unclear as to why he was locked up in the first place. Go ahead.
It's equally unclear as to those of his release.
How he got out? We don't know how he got out either. Go ahead.
But released he was, and he immediately went to Francisco, revealing himself as a Jew.
So he told Francisco, I'm a Jew like you. We're Hebrews. Watch this.
Montezinos proclaimed his conviction that Francisco's hidden people were of the same race as he.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Would Francisco lead him to them?
Now remember, during this time, if not before this time, the conquistadors, conversos, white converts, conquistadors, right? They conquered and murdered the natives. So the natives at this point, Francisco's people, were in hiding. That's why it says Francisco's hidden people.
Right.
Because they were hiding from the Spaniards, right? So if Montezinos was clearly like this, a Spaniard, why in the hell would Francisco lead him to go talk to his hidden people at this place?
Right.
You got a white guy saying to you, hey, I'm a Jew like you, to a native. And the American's like, oh, okay, let's go meet my hidden people.
Nope.
Even though you resemble the ones that's killing them. Come on. No, don't make no sense. Now, I showed you the statue of St. Maurice for a reason. You mean, what does St. Maurice have to do with Montezinos?
Bring it out.
Bear me a moment. So let's read on. Watch this.
The two men were soon back in the rugged mountains in which Francisco had made his initial revelation, marching relentlessly for a week before they finally came to a halt. It was a Saturday. Montezinos makes a point of telling us, and they had come to a river larger than the Duero. All are there echoes of the Semblantion in all of this.
So what he's saying is that the Semblantion is a mythical river that exists that during the Sabbath, there's outside the during the Sabbath, rocks are thrown in this river, so you're unable to cross it on the Sabbath. And on the other side of this river is the lost tribes of Israel, that a man named Eldad the Danite spoke of. He said there's a river named the Semblantion River, and that this river is mythical. There's no evidence of it, none of that. And the so-called Jews today, the so-calleds, the Ashkenaz and Sephardic, they say the lost 10 tribes of Israel are lost because they're in this part of the world where there's a river, and you can't cross the river because you can't cross the river in the Sabbath. So during the Sabbath, the water is calm, and you can't cross it because it's the Sabbath. But outside the Sabbath, rocks are thrown, so it's dangerous. So when it's not the Sabbath, you can't cross because there's rocks being thrown in it, and during the Sabbath, you can't cross it because it's the Sabbath. So they can't get to the Jews today can't get to the other side of the river because it's the Sabbath, which is bull.
Right.
BS. It's a myth.
Right.
So the question of the author's being asked, he's asked the question, does the Semblantion have any relevance to this? Meaning, is this alluding to the lost 10 tribes? The answer to this question is yes. He's basically saying, does this situation with Francisco's people allude to the lost 10 tribes? The answer is yes, it does. Aside from that Semblantion myth. Read on.
Here, Francisco announced, is where your brothers will be seen.
So Francisco says to Montezinos, this is the place where your brothers will be seen. This river right here. You're going to see them. Where your brothers will be seen. Watch this.
Waving a banner high in the air, the Indian guide soon was greeted by a puff of smoke far beyond the other bank of the river.
Francisco waved a banner in the air, I guess his own banner, might be a Reubenite banner, and then he saw a smoke signal come up, letting him know that they spotted him. Go ahead.
In response,
and why a smoke signal? Because they were hiding. They're not going to come out and say, hey, here we are, when they were being killed by Spaniards. It's the same time frame. Go ahead.
In response to his signal, the two men waited. Eventually, a canoe appeared, bearing 3 men and a woman.
Bearing 3 men, 4 people, and a woman. Go ahead.
All of them Indians. To the place where Francisco and Montezinos were standing at the water's edge. The woman got off and spoke to Francisco in the Indian tongue that Montezinos could not understand.
Right, because there's different dialect of Hebrew, different kind. Go ahead, watch this.
Although he could perceive that he was being identified in the conversation.
So she came to him, she was like, who this guy? Who's this guy you're with? Go ahead.
She then turned to her male companions to explain the situation.
She went over to the 3 men and said, okay, he tells me that this guy is so-and-so. They talk about him. Go ahead.
Upon hearing her words, they rose, went over to Montezinos.
They walked over to him and said what?
And, to his utter astonishment, said, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim.
No. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Ehud. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. They had recited, go ahead.
In Hebrew, the fundamental credo of Judaism.
So they spoke to him in Hebrew.
That's Deuteronomy
6 and 4. Yeah, Deuteronomy 6 and 4, right. Yeah. Go ahead.
A brief conversation then ensued in their common ancestral tongue.
A brief conversation then ensued in their common ancestral tongue, Hebrew. Go ahead.
According to Montezinos, whose fluency in is almost as perplexing to the reader of his narrative as is that of his 3 mysterious new companions.
Because he couldn't speak Hebrew that well. Maybe he was a convert. Go ahead.
They told him, that they were themselves of the tribe of Reuben, and that the tribe of Joseph lived on an island nearby.
Puerto Rico. Go ahead.
The day when they were at last to issue forth into the world was coming soon. They explained, but in the meantime, they could not allow visitors to cross over to them.
You can't come see us right now. Go ahead.
They were willing to make an exception in the near future. However, on account of their need for education, for though they spoke Hebrew, they could not read or write it. Would Montezinos send them 12 bearded men to be their teachers? He said he would. The 4 strangers returned to their canoe, paddled back across the river, and disappeared from view. Francisco told Montezinos all he knew about these people from his own traditions. His ancestors, to their internal shame, had indeed made war on them and persecuted them. Only the sorcerers of his tribes had...
sorcerers means the elders, the shamans. Go ahead.
Only the sorcerers of his tribe had perceived that they were a special people.
The elders of his people had told him that they were a special people. The sorcerers means the shamans. The white man, the Christians, called the elders or their prophets sorcerers. Because they considered anything outside of Christianity was considered idolatry. So they were referred to as sorcerers of his people, of his tribe. Reuben had perceived what?
And had perceived that they were a special people, and had given warning that they should be left alone. The God of these children of Israel is the true God, they had said, and everything inscribed on their tablets is true.
Everything inscribed on their what?
On their tablets is true.
What they were wearing showed that they were Israelites. Go ahead.
At the end of the day, at the end of days, they will be lords of all the nations of the earth.
Damn.
One nation will come bringing many things to this land.
That's Judah. Go ahead.
And after we have all been provided for,
all been given understanding, go ahead.
These children of Israel will go forth from where they now are.
Right, go ahead.
And reign over the whole earth as they once did.
Boom. That's all I want. So now you know.
So I said these children of Israel will go forth from where they are now, which is captivity.
Right, America.
Scattered throughout the 4
right,
corners.
including here.
Wow.
So now, go to Montezinos with a Z. So why would they go out their way to introduce Montezinos to these hidden people? Francisco, why do you do that?
Antonio de Montezinos also
he couldn't understand. He couldn't really? You better extend that. He couldn't understand. He couldn't understand Hebrew that well. I'm almost done. Watch this. Read this real fast.
Antonio de Montezinos, also known as Aaron Levi, was a Portuguese.
Known as Aaron Levi because he was more than likely.
Yes, we understand. You don't
Levi.
have to say carrying priesthood
duties. He was converted over to Antonio.
Yes, sir. Yes, all praise to the Most High.
Oh, gosh. Go ahead. Maybe.
We'll take that.
He might have been Judah. Go ahead.
Was a Portuguese traveler.
Was a Portuguese traveler. Watch this.
And a Marano Sephardic Jew.
And a Marano Spanish Jew. Marano Spanish Jew. Go ahead.
Who in 1644 persuaded Manasseh ben Israel.
Manasseh ben Israel wrote a book called The Hope of Israel. Go ahead.
A rabbi of Amsterdam, that he had found one of the 10 lost tribes of Israel living in the jungles of the Quito province. That is the Pichincha province of Ecuador. This supposed discovery gave a new impulse to Manasseh's messianic hopes. Manasseh wrote a book about his narrative, The Hope of Israel. In it, Manasseh argued and tried to give learned support to the theory that the native inhabitants of America at the time of the European discovery were actually descendants of the lost 10 tribes of Israel. The book was originally published in Latin. Mikveh Israel, Hoc Israel.
Latin and Spanish, go ahead.
And Spanish in 1650, but its publication in English in 1652 in London caused great controversy and polemics in England.
Right, and small arguments in England. So now, let's get, again, get me Montezinos with an S, not the Z. And give me St. Maurice now. Remember, he was a Marano, right?
Right.
Now blow that picture up. Make that bigger. Now move it over, put St. Maurice next to it.
This is Montezinos right here.
Yep. Now lift up, move it up some. Now look at the stop right there. Look at his hair.
Zoom out a little bit.
Zoom out some.
There
Right there.
Yep.
Right there. Now look at this. Now look how he's drawn. That's him sculpted. That's him in stone, white, with marble face. Look at his hair. Look at his nose. He looks like a native. That's how he's sculptured in the I forgot what this is. Go bring it down some. It shows wherever this is.
That's just the image.
Okay, click blow out of that. See, it's gonna show that statue's located. I think it's in the islands.
I think that's Dominican Republic.
I think it is too.
I think I saw it.
You go out of that. Where's that at? Go
Dominican
down. Where's that
Republic
at?
of Haiti. Back up, back down. The other way, right there.
It says,
was
a Spanish Dominican friar who, Antonio Montezino was a Spanish Dominican friar who was a missionary of the island of Hispaniola, now in the Dominican Republic and Haiti, with the backing of Friar Pedro de Cordoba and his Dominican community at Santo Domingo. Montezumas was the first European to publicly denounce the enslavement and harsh treatment of the indigenous peoples of the island.
Why? Because they were his people.
But they say he was the first European.
Yeah. Right, first European as in a Jew that came from Spain. Go back to it again. Go a picture again. Next to St. Maurice again. That's why the Native Americans felt comfortable bringing him over to meet them, because that's how he looked. That's how dark he was, and that's how he looked. He was a dark man because there's no reason at all to have. Remember, you have white Jesus in Brazil. It's a white man, white face, white garment. This is a black face, white garment, black face, white garment. A Morano, going back to Moreno. Montezinos was a convert Jesuit. And when he realized that, and remember what the credo was, their prayer was what? To thank God they weren't an idolater, they weren't barbarians, they weren't Negro, and they were not Indians. They were Christians. That was their doctrine. That was the philosophy. That was the doctrine. You're not a Negro. You're a Christian. You're a good Christian. You're a Christian slave. So they have him sculpted this picture. They sculpted him. The person behind the sculpture, he's known for being very detailed. He sculptured this here and some Mexican dude. I forgot, some kind of musician or something like that. And the sculpture, that dude is the same color. He's brown. He made him slightly brown also. So it's known historically that Montezinos looked like this. Now blow up some more. Go to his hair. Get St. Maurice out of here. Blow up his picture up some. Blow it up. You can take those screen up. Just blow it up some. Look at his hair. Look how it's all spaced out.
Like he got
twists. Like he got twists in his hair. And his hand in space. So it's a white garment and black marble face and hands? Nah, come on. That's why they brought him to the people. It said, Lord our God is one. They know. They said, you know.
Shema Yashar Allah.
Right. So I'm gonna end it on that. It's 3:31. I'm ending on that for now. Put this down. We're gonna go, yeah. So I hope y'all got some out of the class. Shout outs to the IT team. Shout outs to the breakfast team as well. Praise to the Lord for that. Glad to be back. Hopefully you have no problems in between. And all praise to the Lord. Thank you for your comments and your questions.
All
and
right.
for your donations as well. We appreciate them.
All praise, all praise. Let's give Deacon a round of applause for a great class as usual. All right. So real quick, to donate to the Boosters Club, as you know, we mention it every time. Go to iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org. That's for the Boosters Club to help the prophets continue this work. To donate to our Hidden History radio show, you can go to iuic.newjersey@israelunite.org to donate to OHH. All right, and also PayPal. Right, you could use this information to donate through PayPal. All right. Don't forget to subscribe to our Hidden History Radio on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, all right? Shout out to our leadership. Shout out to all IUIC radio shows, all these brothers putting his glorious works for you. Shout out to Mississippi. Congratulations on new school. And that's it. Israel, we say stay blessed, stay safe, load up these commandments. With that, we say shalom.
Shalom. All right, shalom.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Do you know it? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah.